All right, so I want to show you one other adjustment that you can make from this menu, and that's the clone at the bottom. And what that means is it will, on the same layer, clone exactly a part of your canvas, or copy it exactly 100% to another place on that canvas. And so I'm going to show you how it works. So the first thing you want to do is click on clone, and then two things will happen. This circle will open in the middle of the canvas. That's the area that's going to clone. Whatever in that circle is going to be cloned. And then if you look up at the brushes icon, you'll see there are two little stars on either side. That tells you that the brush you're using is in clone mode. You can use any brush you want in clone mode. All right, so the way it works is I can move this wherever I want to clone, and when I put my pencil to the paper, watch what happens. It is making an exact copy of what's ever in between that circle. Right? Now, you can also change brushes. I'm going to go back here. Let's go to a texture. Let me choose this Dove Lake. I'm going to move this back here. And now watch what happens when I use my cloning tool. It's doing the same thing in the texture of that brush. All right? You also have the option to take your circle, put it where you want it, and then if you hold it down with your pencil or your finger works best here, you'll notice that it's going to get bigger and smaller. Now, every time I start to clone, every time I lift my brush up, it's always going to start from that same point and clone the dress so it doesn't move. Okay? So let me get these off of here. So I'm reversing these. So where am I likely to use this in a design? Let me show you. I'm going to add a layer, and then I'm going to add some fabric. So I'm going to go here. I want to insert a photo. I'm going to come down here and choose. I have a swatch of fabric here somewhere. All right, so let me X out this layer. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to take a swatch of fabric and insert it as a layer under a line drawing of a dress, but the line drawing of the dress is longer than my fabric swatch is, right? I can take this layer and actually clone this and get a bigger swatch of fabric. Does that all make sense? So what I want is I want to take a piece of fabric and I want to make the fabric bigger so that I can use it in a costume collage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, I'm going to hit clone, and I'm going to take my brush, and I want inking. I want just a kind of plain brush that is kind of wide. And so now if I put this here, watch what happens when I start to try and make this bigger. Now you'll notice I've hit the edge of the swatch, so I've gotten that same edge in the piece I'm cloning. So I'm going to move this back over here and just continue. Right? And I can move it over here and come up here and start again. Now if you look really closely at the pattern, you'll see it doesn't match up perfectly, and sometimes that's going to matter, but this is going to allow me to make a much bigger swatch of that fabric that I can easily use to put a skirt over the top of and have the skirt now be this piece of fabric. So that's how the cloning tool works, right? Engage it, put the circle where you want to start to clone, choose your brush, and then it will make an exact copy of what you're looking at. I think this is a pretty cool feature. I use it a lot when I'm creating pieces of fabric from something that doesn't exist. Okay, that's the cloning tool.